The faction wars are a very important system in Raid. Shadow Legends is going to be allowing you to access a lot of very important and more mid-game to late-game crafts, so you need to be able to get into doing them as soon as possible, even if it really looks very inaccessible. Hello, my name is Midway and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be going through how to easily approach as a new player, just getting your first set of champions assembled for the different factions, how to actually get into the faction wars and be able to farm them comfortably no matter what the faction that's open at that time is going to be, or in the next couple days, right? We're going to be giving you some tips over here into how to really be able to at least get some of the rewards, as well as of course some of the completion rewards here with the different star tiers, right? So right off the bat, faction wars, you get into the game and you are able to do them very early on, but unfortunately what happens is usually that you are not going to have a decent roster enough so that you can get into actually pushing some of the levels, or even just getting them done. You might not even have any champions from that faction. That is a very bad situation, and you are letting a lot of resources go to waste if you are not at least trying to clear them daily, because well, they are free, they only cost the amount of keys you are given for free every day, and they don't actually consume any energy, so you really want to be doing them just so you can keep on getting those rewards, and as I mentioned, using the rewards for the crafting system. Freeze! Click the link in the description right now and get a free legendary Karato as well as 2 free epics as you level up. So here's what you need to do. First of all, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Then click the link in the description of this video and register a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial, and then go to your inbox and claim your first champ. You'll find Karato here as well as Tagoar and Uugo as you progress through the game. This is an amazing account starting Raid, so click the link right now and follow the steps. And if you are a legendary mushroom player, I also got a special link down there in the description. Don't miss out on this offer, go ahead and check it out now. So what's going to happen is usually you are going to be getting into whatever faction that day it's enabled for the faction wars, and you're going to be checking out, do I have any champions that I can actually use here, right? More often than not, it's going to be, the answer is going to be no, right? At least so it was for me during the first couple weeks of playing the game, right? Right now, I happen to have quite a few of them, but you will see that, well, most of them are not usable. So what ends up happening is that if I want to start grinding some of these levels, I just end up using one champion. That's usually the one that, if I'm lucky enough, I actually leveled up, so I got some time into it and some gear into it. The problem about that is you're not even going to be getting the stars out of doing these things, right? You need to be having at least 5 champions and no losses if you want to be getting as many stars as possible, and those are also really important. As I mentioned, you will get some of the free rewards, which even though they might not be crazy initially, you will definitely be wanting to get, right? Some silver, some summons, some chickens, and as you go forward, well, that is also your progression curve within the faction wars, right? Let's check out the other faction we got open for today, and that is going to be the Dwarf Crypt, and as you can see, I've barely done anything into it. So if I was going to be doing stage 2 today, well, I find out that I barely have any champions that I can use. Let me just go ahead and put my camera up here in the middle. Is going to be a little bit better. So as you can see, yes, I'm probably not going to be able to get too far if I only have this, right? Luckily, again, I did a little bit of a summoning spree, so I already have some champions, but since I haven't put any investment into it, it's a little bit hard to actually get them going. So what's important about the faction wars really, of course, is having the champions and then having them leveled up, but as a new player, that is honestly the biggest issue. Is just first and foremost having the champions and then having the time, energy, and just having been able to put the leveling into those champions so that it doesn't feel useless. So the main tip that I want to give you here is going to be the following. So how you want to be approaching doing the faction wars, right? Every day you're going to be able to come into the map and you're going to be able to see which 2 factions are going to be live tomorrow, right? So it's going to be opening in 6 hours and the ones that are open are going to be closing in 6 hours, right? So I know that the Orc faction is going to be opening up soon, and then I can also find out that the Shadowkin is going to be opening up soon, right? So I know that, okay, I have some time before I need to start doing this, right? And then I can prepare for it. So how do you want to be preparing for it? First and foremost, I cannot click on it and check out how many champions of that faction I have right now. So I'm going to be going outside and going to the index and then clicking on the orcs, right? So as you can see, my orcs are very terrible. I have a few of them, but apparently I have, well, I think I only have 2 right now in my bank. That's what I'm thinking. It's telling me over here I have only 2 out of 62 unlocked. The rest that I have unlocked in the past, but I have used for food or something like that, right? So I barely have any orcs, but I know that there is some uncommons as well as subcommon that I could even go ahead and get easily if I have a few summons of the green shards and same thing is going to be going for the Shadow King. I have barely any. I have only 3 available right now to me. So yeah, some of them are going to be actually, I think I just got this epic today as well, so that's going to be pretty damn handy. Plan ahead. So tomorrow I need to have these 2 factions ready, so I can at least clear some of the first levels. Even though I might not get too deep into it, I'll be able to at least get some of the rewards out of doing the crypts. So in this case, what I'm going to be doing is, first and foremost, if I have any uncommons, I'm going to be trying not to sell at least 1 copy of each uncommon, right? So that I can accumulate a lot of them and level those up at least to level 20. I can even 3-star them, and that's going to be ideally what you want to be doing is just save up 1 copy of each uncommon of each faction, and you want to be getting all the way up to 3 stars on that uncommon. You're going to be using it as food anyways, because that's how the game works. You want to be getting those uncommons, getting them to 3 stars, leveling them up again, getting them to 4 stars, and so on and so forth. So there's no loss in doing that. It's an investment that you're going to be doing anyways. And then once you do have them at 3 stars, you keep them there. You don't gear them up, just keep them at 3 stars and level them up to max level, and just keep them there, right? Once you do need them for some leveling up, or rather like some food, then that's when you want to be actually using them. But in the meantime, before you actually got any upgrades to do, just keep them there. And once faction war comes around, you're gonna have at least a decent set of already level 30. Even if it's epics that you're just having laying around, just keep them at level 40 and let them sit there. They're gonna be handy enough so that when you approach getting into the run you want to be doing, you're gonna be able to at least clear the first couple levels easily, right? So that way you solve the issue of not having the characters, right? So you can see at least I have a few of those uncommons that I've just kept over there because, well, I've summoned them from my shards or got them from the campaign clearing or whatever. I'm just gonna be keeping them there. I'm gonna be leveling them up to 20, and if I don't really need to be fusing anything right now, I'm just gonna be keeping them there at level 20. Anything that's like 2 stars and level 1 and I already have another copy of, that's gonna be used for some other enhancement eventually, but for now it's gonna be sitting there. So whenever this is gonna be live tomorrow, I'm already gonna be having a decent team that I can put in there and clear the first couple levels. So we're gonna be doing this today on this faction in particular, the dwarves, because, well, you can see I don't have much of a team. I didn't prepare for this the day before. As I'm mentioning, you should be doing this before the day comes, so when it's actually happening you have the energy and you're already ready to get it done. So in this case I didn't do that before, so I'm gonna be in a perfect situation to actually level up some of these guys so that we can get them into just clearing a few couple levels, and we'll see without actually putting any gear on them how far we can take it. Another interesting tip is that if you don't have some uncommons, or rather enough uncommons for one specific faction just to fill out the team, you can even just go to the store and see if for that day, or like it's gonna be refreshing every hour, of course you can also spend some gems, you're gonna be pulling out any kind of uncommon which you would be interested in for a faction that you are gonna be needing. So for example, the orcs, this one would be pretty good for just having another champion for that one faction in particular, so I might want to go ahead and buy it for myself, right? That's something you can do as well. So I have quite some energy laying around today, and what I'm gonna be doing is going to straight up just level these guys to the campaign, and I'll be doing it on brutal level, and it's gonna be taking just a few minutes, and I'll do a few runs just to max those guys out and let them be there sitting there, right? So what I'm gonna be doing here in order to find out what the faction guys that I want are, I'm gonna be going into the filter section, and then I'm gonna be clicking on the dwarves, and then that's going to be it. So once I hide this and remove the other guys that I had in my team, as you can see, it's gonna be down here, but well, I have the guys that I already saw before in the crypts or the faction wars. I can now go ahead and select them over here, right? So I'm gonna be putting the epic over here just because he's epic, right? He's gonna be a little bit sturdier, and in this case I don't even need to 3-star those uncommons because I already had the rares. But what usually would be doing would be to just put in all those uncommons. If you don't have the uncommons at that point, well, you just want to be eventually getting them and saving them up by just rolling on your green shards, which will be showered on just by naturally playing the game eventually, and just leveling them up to 20. And once they're at 20, you just get them all the way to 3 stars and do it again and get them all the way up to 3 stars level 30, which is going to be no waste. As I was mentioning before, you are going to be wanting to do that eventually anyways. And then once they are 3 stars level 30, you just go ahead and use them on the faction wars. Ideally you want to have a team of 5, so you can do these with like 3 guys over here in a few runs. Getting them to level 20 over here is going to take, I don't know, like 5 runs. So we can go ahead and do this on these guys, but of course I'm gonna rather do it on the blue guys that are going to be a little bit more useful. So that way I'm also obviously putting a little bit of a more worthwhile investment into my account, because I'm lucky enough to have already some of the rares and epics that I could most definitely benefit a lot from having, right? And I also have pretty much, what is it, a full team of 5 that's going to be pretty useful for the faction wars in particular. So I'm going to be doing this, farming these guys to max level. Now, another pretty good tip that I got for you is to check out on Hell Hades the faction wars tier list. And if you have uploaded your champions, right, the ones that you have on your account, there's a way of doing that. If you know Hell Hades, you're going to be able to go over here to the faction wars tier list. So the reason for this is that if you got a few champions already for a faction and you don't really know which one to put a little bit of investment just for the sake of even leveling them up like I am doing here, I got a few rares and an epic, and I don't really know which one I want to be leveling up, even if it's for the sake of only clearing the first couple levels of the faction wars, then by going here to the faction wars tier list, I'm going to be able to then go ahead and find the dwarfs tier list, and it's going to be giving me a massive list of which ones are going to be greater than the others, right? You're going to be getting a bit of an assessment of how good they are in different aspects, right? So this is a little bit too convoluted already because there is a lot of champions over here, right? So why I mentioned that you want to have your champions uploaded is that if you do have them, you're going to be able to go ahead and click on this button, show my champs. That is going to be filtering all the champions in the list to only see the ones that you actually have in your account. So here we're going to be able to see, well, it's not going to be ranked from top to bottom, but it sort of is. As you can see, you're going to be able to get a little bit of an assessment of, well, Molly, she is godlike at crowd control, and she's got a revive, so she is godlike in that regard. Then we got a Beer, who's also going to be godlike and then godlike at some other things, and then you're going to be getting a legendary great. So you can sort of figure out which ones are actually worth investing. So I could say that maybe I'm going to go with Molly, and then the other 4 guys, of course, my other 2 rares and the epic are going to be in my team. So that is going to be my total of 5 guys in the team for the faction wars. If I leveled all these guys up, I'm going to have a pretty decent team assembled for the faction wars. Another way of getting a similar score, if this isn't too clear for you and doesn't really tell you which ones are better than others, you can also go here to the champion tier list, and what we're going to be doing here is applying the filter that we're going to be doing right now, which is going to filters and then selecting all factions, the faction that you are going to be interested in doing for that very day in particular. So we'll click on filter, and then before it shows me everything, I'm going to be clicking on show my champs, and if the filter is still applied, that's going to be giving me even more information about the champions that I was saying before. So we have the overall score, which is going to be giving us an idea of how useful those guys are going to be in different aspects of the game. It's not just going to be for the faction wars in particular, but also for other avenues of the game. So if you see that there's a guy that's going to be a little bit over there, right, it's going to be higher overall, you got another reason to actually go ahead and level it up, because eventually it's going to be nice and useful. Even if it's an uncommon, well, some of them actually are decent, but if it's rares, you might want to be choosing between different rares like I am doing. So as you can see, we have, for example, the Hatchet Slinger, who is a very terrible rare. So yeah, we don't really have many choices here. I would rather go for the Hatchet Slinger, might as well. I could also go for the Line Infantry, but I mean, that doesn't really matter. The Line Infantry is 2 stars, so I would have to get him to 3 stars, and I'm gonna do that anyway eventually. But yeah, this is also another way of basing your opinion of which ones of these champions you want to be choosing to put the levels into. So with all that being said, we'll get a set of 3 champions that I want to be leveling after going through the assessment of which is worth it, and we'll just do these first 3-star guys. Might as well get through them. So we're gonna be just doing the auto multi-battle here, and of course we will also be able to edit the queue and set up more guys so I can keep them running, but I don't really want to be doing that. I'm just gonna be going with these 3 first, and then we'll figure out what we do about the 4th one. And yeah, well, I'll show you what a run of this is going to be like. Of course, I am doing it on the brutal level, and I'm using Alice as my carry instead of using my starting champion Elhain, because at this point my Alice is just pretty much one-shotting everything, as you can see over here. So the runs are gonna be taking like 20-30 seconds, something like that, and then we're gonna be getting, what is it, like 20,000 XP on every single guy every time we do the run, which is going to be a whole damn lot. And as you will see, in like 20 seconds we're going to be able to go from like level 1 to level 10, right? So nothing too impactful about this kind of farming. It's all pretty straightforward. If you got any questions about that, of course, go ahead and answer. I got a whole video on that, by the way, down in this channel. But yes, yeah, there you go. Like the guys are already level 11, so getting them all the way up to level 30 is going to be taking like, I don't know, 6-7 runs, something like that. It's not that much energy. It's like 16. Of course, we're doing it on the double drops mode, whatever that's called. It's going to be double the energy, double the rewards. So yeah, in no time they're going to be ready to go, and just like they're going to be ready to get into the faction wars. It actually took us 10 runs to get it done, but there we go. They're level 30, and as you can see, I got 3 other 3-star champions as well as another 2-star champions in the meantime. That is 160 energy used, but that is also a lot of silver, as well as just a bunch of leveled up champions and a bunch of other materials, right? So doing this whole thing is also very rewarding, as of course is farming the campaign You're gonna be doing this multiple times. But now we got a set of 3 guys that are already able to go ahead and be used in the faction war. So we're gonna be leveling up one more before we go into it. We've leveled up some of our other guys. I'm leveling up the epic dwarf that I also had, which is gonna go to level 40. In the meantime, I'm also leveling up some other epics. And as you can see, we got a lot of gold, or rather silver, rather doing that. And very importantly, you also get a lot of green shards, which are gonna be perfect to just go for more rolls and get more of those uncommons for the other factions, which you might be missing, so you can get this same thing done in further days whenever more faction wars factions are available, and then you keep on doing the same thing so you're able to farm those faction wars levels. And after a few more runs, we got our epic dwarf all the way up to 40, so now we're gonna be going into the faction wars. So now that we have our team leveled up, we are able to go ahead and do these levels. So I could go ahead and repeat the stage 1 and try and see if we can get it fully at 5 champions, no losses, so that way we are going to be getting all the stars. So we got our full team over here, and of course I do have a legendary in this very particular case, but that doesn't really matter at all, since I mean I could get something else like another epic or uncommon or rare or whatever, and it would have kind of like do the same job. But of course we got a little bit of a better team over here with this legendary in particular. So what you are really looking to do is at least clear the first 3-4 levels consistently, so you are able to go for the highest one you can do and just repeat it every single day that it's available. Now of course, if you were to be putting some investment into some other champions of that faction, just like I am doing with my legendary Molly over here, that's always going to be nice. You're going to be getting a nicer overall better team for that faction wars team, and that is going to be netting you just more rewards overall, right? But just so that you can get the very minimum and you are not wasting your keys every day, not being able to do any single level, this is a very good way of going about it, right? So we're just doing level 1, and as you can see, nobody's going to be dying. The enemies in this level are only level 11, right? So at least being level 30 is going to be giving me enough of a leeway, even though there is no gear on any of these champions, of course, besides my legendary over here, they're able to at least not die, right? So there we go, we got 3 stars. Now we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the second level, and it's pretty much going to be the same scenario. Ideally, you want to have nobody die so that you get all the 3 stars in every single level, so that it also contributes to getting the free rewards we talked about before. But if you're gonna have somebody die, well, that is all right. I mean, at least you're getting the whole completion thing, right? So I'm gonna be pushing it to the point where I am already gonna be losing, right? I want to be getting there so that when I lose, I'm gonna be not going all that far, and I'm gonna be keeping myself to a level that I can win. And of course, if I can in the meantime complete the previous levels without having anybody die, that is going to be all the better. So there we go, we're doing the second or rather third run at this point, and the enemies are only level 16, so my guys being level 30, level 40, level 50, they're not dying, even though they do take quite some damage, and not dish too much damage. They are just surviving long enough so that we are able to clear them. Kind of, I mean, they might be going down over here, but that is just to be expected. He's got an immortal over there, that one guy, so he'll sort of most likely survive. But yeah, our damage is going to be very lackluster. Overall, it's just going to be a matter of getting it cleared instead of actually going for the whole 3 stars, and that's going to be just happening right now. This one last enemy is going to be dying, so we even get the 3 stars in this level. Now let's see if we can keep on clearing all the way up to maybe like level 4. With this setup, we've been able to actually even fully clear all the way up to stage 7, which is a boss. Now that is mainly of course because I have Molly in my team, which is putting this team a lot higher up there, but we're going to be giving it a try and see if we can actually go ahead and do the boss. I'm not thinking it's going to be possible, but yeah, we might as well give it a try, see if this is something that we can actually even farm. Otherwise, my team seems to be good enough to go even all the way to stage 6, which is a lot more than I expected, and probably what you should also be expecting if you are doing this with a team of straight up just level 30 uncommons. In that case, you would probably expect something like getting all the way up to stage 4, maybe only even 3 sometimes, but that would be at least good enough to get some farming done, right? So let's see if we can get it all the way to the boss and get it killed. So no, the boss wasn't quite feasible for this team, but at least I know it's good enough to farm all the way up to level 6. So if that is the case for you, then well, that would be the idea, right? You get to a point where you are losing, and then you just keep on farming the level immediately before that. So if you just keep on applying this method, eventually you will be getting better champions for that faction, and instead of going ahead and selling them or just using them as food, if it's an upgrade for you for that faction in particular, you should be keeping them and just try to keep on using them for the faction wars, right? That way we're going to be collecting a little bit of silver over here from having farmed some of the star levels on this thing. And since we still got some keys left, well, we can go ahead and keep on farming level 6 and maybe do some lower levels, because well, we only got 3 keys now, and we're only gonna be able to do 2 levels over here and 1 level over there. So that is the idea of this whole method. If you think that it's a good idea, let me know down there in the comment section. And before before you go ahead and check out Aptoide. Now, Aptoide is going to be allowing you to buy more stuff with the same amount of money you are spending, right? So you download Raid Shadow Legends through Aptoide, and there's going to be a guide down there in the description explaining how to do the whole thing. But basically, the idea is that when you try to purchase something, when you play Raid Shadow Legends through Aptoide, you're going to be paying through the App Coins wallet, and that means that when you do the purchase, you're going to be getting a bonus. It can go from 10% of the money you're spending all the way up to extra 35% of that much money. And once you do have enough of those bonuses, you can use them instead of your actual money to do the purchase for you, right? So if I wanted, I could go ahead and buy this pack right here for no real money whatsoever. I've already got accumulated like 20 euros in bonuses because I've been purchasing things anyways, so I can then afford more things without actually using my real money. It's kind of just like multiplying the value for your money. And if you go ahead and use my code, which is going to be down here on the screen as well as down in the description, you're going to be able to increase that bonus from the get-go by a flat 5%, right? So take the chance, join me and use Aptoide if you are really wanting to just upgrade the value for your money. That's pretty much the way to say it. And I'll see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, and that's it. Bye-bye. See you.